So I was thinking that, sometimes when you get into interviews and you tap into spaces and they ask you weird questions. And one of them is, how many clocks are there in South Africa? How many clocks are there in South Africa? Let's ponder about that.
Probably, I say about 6,248,000.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
I'll say enough.
Enough.
Yeah, we got enough.
But some people are still late. With enough clocks.
We have enough. We manage our time fairly well.
Yeah.
We get to functions on time.
Yeah.
We go to church on time. We get things done. Without noticing that we've lost time. So I think it's enough.
There we go.
I think we need to measure our time and actually see. But no, man. Guys, welcome again. Episode 2 of, the Insights Digital podcast. My name is Thabo Serame. Your data guy, your digital guy. We're talking all things digital. We're talking all things data. I'm with my co-host, Freddie Maestro. Hey, Freddie.
One and only. The one and only Freddie Maestro, and we have an exciting guest here today with us. We're going to be talking about design thinking. I know. Dr. Mark Nasila, man, it's a pleasure to have you with us here. This is a big guy.
Yo.
I don't want to go through the resume. This is a big guy.
Like, when you read that, you're like, okay, Chief Data Analytics Officer, CDO, built this, built that. And I'm like, oh, what a dream. What a profile.
Listen, first of all, really honored to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think I must say I've been a bit lucky with my career and life.
Yeah.
A lot of great things you see. It's not just because of me. I've been lucky to have a very good team, very good leaders. And without all that, no one can get anything done. So,
yeah.
It's very lovely here, by the way. So
no, thank you. Yeah. So tell us, man, like where did you grow up? Because for us, this podcast is not just about, technical stuff. It's not just about making it look like a sci-fi movie or, aliens are coming up and therefore now we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about AI, and it's just so complicated. But let's get to the human, right?
Yeah.
Who's Mark? Where was he born? What city best describes you? What car even best describes you?
So, my parents moved to Mthatha.
Yeah. Oh my word, that's crazy.
Then went to Walter Sisulu. It used to be called UNITRA at that time.
Yeah.
And studied computer science with statistics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and at first I wanted to do medicine, and but I had this love for numbers. Yeah, I didn't do well in a lot of other subjects.
Yeah.
But I felt numbers completed me.
Of course.
And when I finished, I moved to Port Elizabeth.
Yeah.
If you asked about cities, at my young age, that was a city that defined me.
Yeah.
And one, it's a city that is very organized.
Okay.
I'm also, in as a human being, I'm very methodical.
Yeah.
It's not a very busy city, so it would support anyone, who's very orderly and wanted to study. So it actually made my studies so easy. So I did statistical as an honors.
Sure.
Mathematical statistics. Then I did a master's.
Yeah.
Before I moved to Joburg in 2010. So those two cities kind of set me up.
Yes.
For the work that is happening now in Johannesburg. When I moved to FNB, I found a new home.
Of course.
Did my PhD there. Started actually in the department of core banking solutions as a quantitative analyst.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's where you start,
So you
right?
start, and
That's
you
where everybody
you
starts.
start playing with data,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and you start learning how to work, because
Mm.
you acquire a lot of knowledge, and you prepare yourself. And at that time, I was actually hungry
To learn and
to learn
absorb.
and try and
Yeah.
make a difference,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
just like every other young person today. And it was beautiful because all this happened just after the World Cup.
Oh.
So, so when you moved to Joburg, you
Yeah.
felt there was still a bit of elements of the World
Euphoria.
Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You had the banners, and you got the shops. You'll see this football regalia.
Mm.
So it was very, very exciting, and just life went on and on like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I remember going with my wife to PE, and Port Elizabeth it's one of those cities
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
South Africa that is like super clean, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And I get that about you, to say actually, if you are to talk about a city that best describes you, it's very orderly, it's very put together. Like you can't find random paper just everywhere. It's like, why are you throwing paper on the floor? It's
Yeah.
very disciplined, and it has that culture.
Yes. Yes.
No, I think that is quite fascinating, actually, to just put it that way. So today we're talking about, banking, we're talking about risk, we're talking about analytics, we're talking about data and its role in the space,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for a 21-year-old, 23-year-old that's making a decision that, you know what, I think I've just completed my university life. I have a bit of an honors. Before we get into the detail, right? What is a day in the life of a chief data,
Yeah.
analytics officer?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it looked like 5 screens,
Yeah.
numbers, and a guy looking like,
Yes.
all right, I'm gonna tell you where this business is going.
Like in the
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah, like
right?
in the
With
movies,
those
yeah.
virtual stuff.
With just graphs everywhere.
Yeah. So a chief data analytics officer's role is to make sure they help the organization leverage data and other capabilities like AI, emerging technologies, to get an advantage, competitive advantage, modernize, understand its customers much better. As an example, I'm a chief data analytics officer for the risk function in FirstRand.
Yeah, yeah.
And my role is to make sure data is at the center of how we modernize the risk function. Data is helping us become proactive, the way we manage risks. Data is helping us become efficient and effective and be compliant. Just like a lot of organizations, we also have regulatory requirements which we need to meet.
100%.
And and you have to make sure on a day-to-day basis you drive engagement
Yep.
with your stakeholders.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the data function enables the business.
100%.
So
It's
you
the
are-
core driver.
It's a core driver. So your customer is the risk business, and you have to engage with them to understand what are their priorities.
100%.
What do they want to achieve with data? What opportunities do they have? The second part of my day is to make sure I drive communication of these priorities to my team. So they must all be aligned and informed of what the organization wants to achieve from us as a function.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time engaging with my team, making sure you articulate the objectives of why we exist.
Yeah.
And this is a continuous thing, because
It is.
you don't want to be in a situation where you're not aligned or someone is doing something.
I mean, there's audit findings from, like, your sub saying, hey, there's no data lineage, there's no, where's the source, what's happening, why there's segregation of duties, are there segregation of duties, and so many other elements within the space around
Yeah.
around data. So you saying you're working around the risk analytics space.
Yes.
What is it? Like how do we even get there? Like, what does risk mean? What does risk analytics mean in the banking space?
So risk analytics is basically a combination of data science or analytics techniques
Yeah,
together with data that would help an organization manage its risks effectively,
sure.
efficiently, and proactively.
Yeah.
So the combination of data and approaches used to draw insights from that data around risk management is what we call risk analytics.
Ah, I
Yes.
see. I
Yes.
see. I
Yes.
see.
And,
Now,
and there's various categories
of risk.
of risk analytics.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's also levels of risk that you have to analyze throughout that. Now, I know Dr. Mark's favorite subject is design thinking.
Yes.
And when that struck my mind, I first thought, okay, wait, are you saying we must think pretty things? Because that's what I think when I think, when someone says design, think in design. I'm like, okay, roses, flowers, make it red,
Petals.
make color palettes. And in your space, especially in the digital world, what incorporates design thinking?
It's actually related to pretty things. I mean, when you go in a car, you like the way it was designed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've gone to buy, a cloth or design a suit.
Yeah.
They design a suit.
They design it. Yeah.
It's related to that. But I just want to draw your attention to a statistic called the Design Value Index,
Sure.
which was designed by the Design Management Institute, which has shown that design-driven companies are outperforming the traditional S&P 500 companies by over 200%
That is
in
huge.
terms of return. And it shows that design is playing a major role. It's taking over the traditional engineering.
Correct.
Because those days putting engineering things together was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of just formally defining design thinking, it's
Sure.
basically a human-centric approach to putting together products and services for your
100%.
customers. So in other words, as opposed to just designing products and services and putting it out there for the consumers,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you have to be a bit empathetic, involve your customers in the journey of designing your products.
Of course. Of
Ask,
course.
engage with them, ask them the right questions
Yeah.
about their preferences and what your product means to them. In fact, in a lot of organizations, if you think about companies like Nike,
Yeah.
Apple, these are like companies whose value proposition is driven by design thinking.
It is. It
You know-
is.
you know
It is.
Nike,
It is.
Nike, the design thinking department reports directly to the CEO.
Oh my word! No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it reports directly to the CEO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a company like Intuit,
Yeah.
everyone in the organization must learn design thinking because in your role, you can actually design thinking plays a major impact.
And it helps you with the end goal, right?
Exactly.
Because some of us we miss the what is the end picture. We more of okay, they want me to do this. I'm regurgitating exactly this.
Yeah.
But what does it impact? How does it impact our customers? How does it impact the bottom line? How does it impact the future of how we actually do business?
Yes.
How does it impact our business model and our operating model and all of those elements, right? So in your space, like what would it look like exactly?
So it's the same thing. We design solutions
Yeah,
using data to solve problems.
sure.
And for a long time, data scientists have been obsessed about mathematics and science.
Yes, yes.
Because someone sounds clever when they talk about algorithms.
Of course.
AI, but the value of that comes from what you do with it,
Yeah.
how you do with it, and
Yeah.
how much you do.
How
with
much
it.
you do with it?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. We've developed a lot of algorithms that help us proactively identify financial fraud.
Yes.
The savings and a good experience we bring to our customers from
Sure.
preventing these losses is what brings value from the science, not the science itself.
Not the science itself.
Yeah.
True. True.
We've designed AI systems that are helping us become efficient and consistent in
Yeah.
the way we assess risk.
Yeah.
The consistency and efficiency, that's the value that comes from the science. Without that value, the science is actually meaningless.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. And in doing this is when we get use cases or problems to solve from the risk business or
Sure.
even the business, it's important that we understand what our customers want. We talk to them,
Yeah.
we understand their requirements, understand what they define as success.
As a success. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What it means for the business. But I think what we actually learned also, even as data scientists, there's a bit of satisfaction knowing that what you're doing contributes to the success of the organization. Not in terms of your application, because after all, you were trained to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically that is a very big component of design thing in that value chain, engaging with business continuously to making sure that they're happy, to making sure that what we're doing integrates into what they plan for the bigger business.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So a lot of algorithms in the risk space
Yeah.
prevent fraud or help us provide risk visibility.
And you've just spoken of the AI system that you've with the team created, and it's one of the best AI systems. Got its recognition. Manila is the name.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to know firstly about the name.
The
choice.
name.
Manila. I'll tell you my first assumption. Because it's Mark Nasila.
Yeah,
I thought you put them together. Is that exactly what happened?
No.
There's something there, right?
Something there. I was
There's
like,
like
there's
ma-
something there. When I grew up, I was a very big fan of boxing, right? And everyone followed Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
So when we were building Manila, we were actually building a platform value proposition. And if you remember in the mid-70s of the thriller in Manila,
yes.
it was the biggest platform for boxing.
Sure.
So the
Sure.
platform thing resonated as an environment that brought people together for a common cause. And that's why I named it Manila.
Manila.
But the other thing is that in the same year, actually, it's the first time the Basel credit scoring framework was formed.
Oh
for the
yes,
first
yes,
time.
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
so and that's actually the main reason. It's just a coincidence. Mark Nasila,
Yeah.
Manila.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
Basel
actually-
4, right?
No, Basel 1.
Basel 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Basel 1. I think it's 1975 if I'm not wrong.
Oh my
Sure.
word.
So it was basically about the three-lane Manila and the platform.
three-lane
Yeah.
Manila.
And that, I mean, I didn't want to start naming a system Muhammad Ali.
No, of course.
It's going to be a bit,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, so I just said, let it be the platform. We've been on a journey to build a platform.
And then there's a lot of meat, in Manila.
Yes.
Because it's not just a banking solution, it's in banking and it is in other environments where it can be used. So what are some of the applications that we could learn from that? And maybe there's someone in medicine, there's someone in, I don't know, any other sort of business and industry that says, I love that, but how do I, get to use it in other spaces,
So just a bit about context about Manila.
Yeah.
As a bank, we're supposed to monitor certain risks.
Correct.
Like money laundering, terrorist financing,
Yeah.
even fraud. So we've got a lot of algorithms that help identify them proactively
Sure.
and accurately, because we don't want to spend a lot of resources using a blanket approach,
Of course.
right? So got lots of algorithms. But when these algorithms flag these transactions of customers, they
Yeah.
have to go through a due diligence process.
Sure.
That process is very lengthy.
Yeah.
Because one, you have to draw a lot
All
of
the
data,
sources, all the
lots
sources.
of data.
Yeah.
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 Then you have to do graphs and views to make sure that you're describing,
The
any
actual
trends,
problem.
any trends that might indicate anomalies, or
Correct.
because you could have false positives also.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then you also, the forensic teams have to write a report, a
Logs
rationale.
and
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Then after writing a report, they give to a different team to do assurance.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure.
And then a decision is made to whether the risk exists or not.
Correct.
So Manila does everything, and we've let our forensic teams perform assurance
Sure.
and decision making. So it draws information, it puts together these insights, graphs,
Yeah.
tables. It writes actually the report in paragraphs and
Oh, lovely.
while referencing the profile, and then
Yeah.
it hands a whole synopsis to
Sure.
the forensic teams to just check if the report makes sense.
Yeah.
They can add anything on it or reduce insights that are not necessary, then they
Sure.
make the decision. So it's about getting to decisions much quicker. It's about consistency in the decision, because if you give the same profile to 10 people, I can tell you you're going to get totally
Yeah, they'll
10
definitely.
And then it's about also ways of working.
Yeah.
One of the key things we're proud of is that we've tried to not just modernize platform for our customers, but also for the workforce. So you would rather use Manila, get to decisions quicker, and
Yeah.
spend time with your loved ones. But from a general perspective, it's productivity and also desirability on our platform. So platforms are like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
The more you protect it, the more people feel safer.
So, you speak of Manila as an AI for risk management, and you've just described it to us exactly what it does.
Yeah.
So now we look at a system like that, and we're talking now data analytics and the importance of data analytics for any business. And we say, okay, cool, Manila in the risk factor works very well, because then it's there, it's spotting anomalies, and it brings those anomalies to you, and then you can vet out and make your decision. But in other factors of your business, how does a good artificial intelligence system factor in helping you, and in a good data analytics system factor in helping you make your business decisions?
So, globalization and technology and some of the social challenges we're seeing today have meant that we need to reimagine our operating models with technology. First of all, customers want cheaper services,
Yep.
number one. Number two, there's a digital expectation.
100%.
So everyone has a digital device nowadays. It's
Yeah.
a way of life.
Yeah.
And banking is also expected to be part and parcel of this new way.
And sorry to interject, banking has always been one of the most accelerating drivers in the
Exactly.
space. So it has to catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we, as an organization, have invested a lot in data, technology,
Yeah.
and capabilities such as AI to make sure we modernize our platforms. And this is from onboarding, the beginning. So think about it today. A customer of today doesn't want to go to the branch all the time.
No.
You are able to digitally use your device, take a selfie, take a picture of your ID, and you get digitally onboarded.
True.
And that is actually standard across the world. Think about this. By someone looking at your document that is certified, it doesn't make it safer.
No.
Technology is well placed to identify anomalies on documents.
Correct.
But I want to share with you a very scary stat.
Yeah.
By 2030, we're going to have 2.5 billion people join the financial network, and 94% of them will never have gone to a branch. How will they join the network?
Sure.
Through technology.
Technology, yes.
And we're almost there, right? It's
We
like
are
what?
there already.
I can't
We are
remember
there.
the last time I was at a
I mean,
branch.
when you opened your Uber account, you never
Yeah.
went to an Uber branch.
No, you
True.
never.
Yeah, you got digitally onboarded, verified, and everything became business as usual.
Yeah, everything was validated.
Yeah. The other area where AI and machine learning are playing a major role is helping organizations be compliant and enhance their risk management processes. Um, financial institutions spend $270 billion a year on compliance.
Yeah,
This is 10% of the operational risk budget.
Sure.
it's huge.
So, how is AI helping? One, it's very easy to have algorithms, use data to monitor exceptions or to identify issues that could be going wrong in the
Yeah.
business of banking.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a lot of banks are getting fines or customers unhappy because organizations realize when it's too late. You know,
There's a an interesting one. Let's pick your brain there a bit around unhappy customers. There's the 99 rands saga
Yeah.
that's been happening over time,
yeah.
to the point where there was an introduction of your debit checks and the
Oh yeah, the
likes.
debit orders.
But before, let's park the debit check just on the side of it. But like, what's your thoughts on that 99 rand element, because it happened across all the banks?
So the reason, first of all, it's a traditional compromise where people use the banking system, the debit order system,
Yeah.
to intrude accounts and open debit orders.
Sure.
The reason why it's 99 rand is because you know very well that most of the time you register to get an in contact when it's 100 rand and above.
And above. Yeah.
Sure.
So at 99 rand, you will not get an in contact informing you that something has happened to you, because it becomes a bit of a
Yes.
silent transaction.
Yeah.
And that's why criminals exploit a lot of financial institution systems by opening they will open 99.
Sure.
But now the debit check system has now helped to prevent that. A lot of banks like ourselves are now using actually technology and data to proactively identify debit orders that are out of behavior.
Yes.
Debit orders that you're opening for the first time. You basically use rules and algorithms to flag them, and so
Yeah.
that you can stop them proactively. And basically that's one area that AI and machine learning is helping financial institutions manage risks effectively.
Yeah. Because for me, that's always been fascinating. I'm like, oh, how many of these debit orders actually went off? I remember, I think it was in 2019 or 2018, I've had to every month
Check
reverse
and
Yes,
reverse them.
what
actively.
is happening.
Listen, technology is good.
Yeah.
They say technology is so good.
Yeah.
It's like it can help you get strawberries out of the good season.
Yeah.
True.
But it's also enabling criminals also perform some of the most complex
Yeah.
crimes leveraging the same technology. Yeah, but let's move on. Now, another area where AI is helping
Yeah.
bank is just digital engagement.
Mm.
Right now, we've got an app. The
Yeah.
banking is done there. You're able to move money. You're able
Yes.
to send money to your relatives and friends.
Yes.
We're now seeing natural language processing and understanding help with the development of chatbots
Yes.
to help you self-service with utility tasks like
100%.
checking the balance and thinking, even getting information about your products and services.
I think for me, there's something to that.
Yeah.
And it leads to the question around the bank of the future. We were talking about there's a high rise in banks. Okay, with your organization FNB, the guys have been playing in the, I'll call it e-commerce, with the e-buck store, and it's doing fairly well, arguably. But now there's competitors like your net banks with Evo, and they have this fascinating experience, and they're like, no, okay, we see your e-buck stuff, it's rewards based and all that, but we want to move into a space where we're talking about we want to compete with the likes of Takealot and the big retailers,
Yeah.
and just create a space for everyone. So for me, the question begs to say, we're seeing an analysis that says banks want to be retailers and retailers want to be banks.
Yeah.
And for me, what are your thoughts around these banks of the
Bank of the future.
future? And yeah,
What becomes the bank of the
what
future?
become the bank of the future?
So when I think about the bank of the future, I think about a contextual bank.
Yeah,
And I'll help you define that. For a long time, if you go back to the 50s when the banking institution started maturing,
yeah,
banking was made up of a maximum of 4 value propositions.
Sure.
So it was a place where you went to move your money,
yeah,
deposit your money, either get a credit product
100%.
or even invest your money.
Sure.
Everything revolved around those 4.
4 core pillars.
And in the early 50s, when the utility of the bank started growing, or the demand for the banking services,
Yeah.
MIT developed the first mainframe. It was called the Electronic Recording Machine of Accounting. They
Yeah.
did that for
Yeah.
Bank of America.
Sure.
So you never needed to have your name written manually on a card and
Yeah.
placed somewhere in a box. They used the mainframe. The bank
Sure.
has now started, being more efficient, and then the ATM came. So the same value proposition that I counted for you moved outside the bank. So you could
It
deposit
did.
money at the ATM, withdraw money, or
Yeah.
even do your investment. And then guess what happened? Online technologies came.
Yeah.
That value proposition moved to where? To the online platforms.
Yeah. Digital platforms.
And then we've got cell phone banking.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got chatbots that
Yes.
are doing the same thing. But I think
Yes.
what you must notice is one thing. The technology has evolved over time, but the value proposition has iterated as technology has changed.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Sure.
And the banking industry has done excellently well on leveraging that approach, what we call as design by iterative thinking, where you iterate your products.
Yeah.
through
That
different
agility.
technology.
That
Exactly.
yeah.
It's done
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
But you see, this revolution, which is mainly driven by disruption, has
Sure.
meant that there's a shift from the value proposition to experience.
Yes. Yes.
So everything now becomes context. That's why we call it contextual experience, right? We talked about onboarding.
Sure.
Yeah.
It must be an experience for you.
Yes.
It's not about banking. It's
No,
about the experience of onboarding. The way you use your products, it's about banking. That's why we
How
say
you open up an account.
it's an experience.
Yeah.
How you use your cell phone banking app to
Sure.
make purchases. We as an organization and others are also partnering with, for example, retail stores,
Yeah.
Or other partners to make sure you can easily get what you want. It's about
On the platform.
It's about experience.
Sure.
I talked to you about proactively identifying fraud and
Yes.
risks. It's an experience because you're making sure that the customer is not inconvenienced.
No.
Talked about chatbots.
Yeah.
It's an experience. And when you look at, for example, the last example is robo-advisors. You know how much assets are being managed by robo-advisors?
It's quite huge, eh?
2020, it was $8 trillion.
Yeah.
Why?
Massive.
Because robots can look at a lot of data, provide accurate advice, personalized to the customer.
Yeah.
So when you look at all these examples I've mentioned to you, what's happened is that previously it used to be your interaction with the product, with your check account, with your credit card, with your investment account. What's happened is with technologies such as AI, machine learning,
Yeah.
these products have been embedded within them. And now emerging technologies like AI are helping execute contextual experience.
Yes. They are. They are. They
So
are.
it's not now about the check account. It's about
No.
how can the check account help you realize your dreams.
Exactly. Cross-selling
Exactly.
at the back end.
Yeah. We've got a very good value proposition like money management.
Yeah.
Because we know very well you could have money in your account, we're providing the account, but we also need to help you manage your money much
Yeah.
better.
Are you seeing your behavior as a client going
Exactly.
forward over time?
Exactly.
Last month, a customer is performing X, and they're like, okay, you've utilized, a lot of their money. And the next month, oh my word, they budgeted well. So such AIs help actually, with spend and actually saying, but you can actually manage your money well.
Exactly.
You guys, I remember, I think a month or two, there's a report around the middle class and their spend to say actually their money is flashing out. First week of
Yeah.
getting paid, no one has money, you know. And I think for me, the importance is around, and kudos to FNB, in terms of saying, look, we will help you manage your money quite well. But the the interest is, maybe you can explore that data to say actually how many people use that feature,
True.
that says, are other people actually tracking their credit score? Are the people actually tracking how they behave
Yeah.
on their money? Because you could offer them different solutions, which you actually do via, marketing consent and the likes. But are they actually managing their own profiles?
Exactly.
Like, what is the role of, personal finance in the space, and all these solutions that you're creating? So I think for me, also the banking of the future it's a two-part, right? The one part is around the role of banks educating its stakeholders,
Yeah.
and also the adoption. Because part of my research is also around, yes, organizations are building platforms, but what is the relationship between
What
platform
becomes
adoption
yeah.
and digital adoption?
What becomes
Is
the
it
role? Yeah.
is it
that's
a
true.
role of literacy, trust, and etc.? Because it's really important that people dig in and actually understand that element.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite AI data experts,
Yeah.
Scott Taylor, said he actually defines digitization as the ability to scale value.
Yes.
And when you look at the role of banking, it's what influence does it have in what is important for the customer,
Yes.
and not basically the product. The product now is enabling that contextual experience.
Yeah.
We've talked about money management and other societal initiatives. Those things are important for the country and for individuals to help
100%.
create a desirable future. You mentioned middle class. China became a superpower because they put together policies so that businesses and platforms can empower the middle class. Because once the middle class is productive, and then the result of that is helping drive and boost the economy, and quality of
100%.
life in general. So banking is so much embedded in life.
It is. It is.
That the conversation starts with the customer,
Yeah.
and it ends with the customer.
I mean, I can think of it this way. You spoke of how the banking keeps evolving, and we have seen its functionality evolve. It was the place where your cash is handled,
Yeah.
to the place where your money is handled, but to the place where your transactions are handled,
100.
straight up to where you do life.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly
Pay
that.
your bills
Right?
on your phone. You pay your bills, pay your car, and
Yeah.
check out and send money to the kids. You don't have to leave, go anywhere. You don't have to. It's all in a click of a button.
Exactly.
And then that's where we say, then what becomes the function of the banker? And as you said, now the function of the banker then moves to becoming more personal, because now that the functionality of the bank now has to be to advise you on how to healthily spend your money, so that we can have that middle class gradually gaining and being able to retain their buck a little longer, to
100%.
keep the commerce going.
So helping you, as you say, do life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that actually. I think it's a phrase. Banks, are you listening?
I think life
Helpful
coaches
you
need
do
to
life.
reconsider their careers.
I think for me, the point is also around the role of banks becoming retailers. You know, it's
But
helping
is it
do life.
succeeding? That's something that I would like to actually explore. Is banks getting into retail becoming a space that is growing and succeeding? Will we see, at some point, an illusion of what is your bank, what is your retailer?
So I don't think banks necessarily want to be retailers, but the banking industry wants to facilitate the customer's experience, even in the retailing industry.
Yes.
And you will see a lot of strategic partnerships that are happening,
100%.
either through rewards programs or even just enablement. Like, you've seen the likes of Amazon,
Yeah.
Take a Lot,
Yeah.
partner with FNB. There's lots of partnership happening because remember, as we said, the bank account itself
Yes.
doesn't mean anything to you.
No, doesn't.
It's the reason why you got the bank account.
Yes.
It's the reason why you get credit.
Yes.
You get credit so that maybe you can take your children to school, or so maybe you can go
100%.
buy groceries, or maybe so that you can go build a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So linking that reason to your product helps build context.
100%.
And it defines who and how we partner so that we can even be more relevant.
Contextual banking.
Contextual banking.
That's what it
Contextual
moves to.
banking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, we speak then of the bank's functions, and we nitpick on its functionalities, such as payment systems. And with fintech and more companies that come in to just facilitate payments on platforms of retail, where does that then place the bank's functionality on its payment systems and its payment systems as a product in society?
So there's two things around the point you've raised. First of all, a lot of banks have reimagined, disrupted themselves. In fact, a lot of them have got pockets of fintechs within them.
Correct.
They've modernized payments. I mean, look at FNB, the e-wallet value proposition.
Yeah.
I think it's the highest channel of moving money in South Africa.
It is. But interesting fact, because I've worked for the other bank,
Yes.
the Red Bank, and they say it started there,
So let me tell you,
but it was popularized by FNB.
e-wallet is so powerful that the name of the product is the verb of the service.
It is.
Yes,
It's
so
the actual.
you don't even
Can
say
you send me an
money
e-wallet?
through. You say
Exactly.
send me
So,
an
and
e-wallet.
that's how we driving financial inclusion and making
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
is part
yeah,
of the network.
yeah.
So, but the point is that there's so much in-house disruption.
There is.
Because one,
There
we
is.
know fintechs are cheaper, they provide cheaper services. The thing is that we are a very complex organization. We
Yes.
offer a lot of products,
Yes.
services. We've got insurance, we've got an MVNO, we've got a lot of things. So what fintechs have done, they've taken a piece of the pie and they work on it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having said that, we appreciate that because it's helped us to really look at things and modernize so that the customer can benefit from the efficiencies, but also from the experience they get through some of our initiatives. But secondly, we have, partnered with a lot of fintechs to make sure that we also leverage some of their value propositions.
100%.
Because we've realized that we need to expand our business models directly or indirectly to
Yes.
benefit the customer.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got CellPal, which does well in the payment space, and other and other partners who are helping us to make it easy for the customer to move money,
Sure.
to make it easy for the customer to leverage our services when they're in different countries, protect our customers.
Yeah.
That safe neighborhood I spoke about. But also to, for example, make it easy to onboard our customers.
Yeah.
And bring them to our systems.
And for me, I think the other thing is around what is the role of payments? Because I remember how these things, just swift through like so seamlessly. We have your Apple Pays, we have your Samsung Pays and the likes, and then suddenly there's an FNB Pay, there's an APSA Pay, there's a NetBank Pay, and you're like, oh, okay, I thought you guys are integrating with these two. Now you are there, you know.
Yeah.
And there's also the role of like your virtual cards. I mean, I want to link it back to also, that safety net that we spoke about in terms of fraud, in terms of the likes, because there's a virtual card element as well.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, so why would a bank then not continue, integrating your Apple Pays and your FNB, your the likes, and then just move into their own pay? What's
Yeah.
the importance of that?
It's almost diversifying
Yeah.
your value proposition. If you think about, look at the South African population.
Sure.
Not everyone has a digital device with applications, for example.
No, of course not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then not everyone has an Apple device. Right. We've got Samsung Pay as well.
Yeah.
It's about making sure you provide a variety of the same service through different digital channels so
Sure.
that you can satisfy many customers.
Sure.
So Apple Pay, FNB Pay, it's partially self-disrupting, but
It is.
also providing an option of helping customer make purchases or move money
Yeah.
much more efficiently. But having said that, you're 100% right. All these things introduce complexities. The level of fraud becomes more complex.
Yeah.
And this is where now AI and
True.
machine learning is
Comes
helping
into
us
play.
monitoring what is happening. We've put rules in place to protect customers. Whenever something is flagged as suspicious, we use this risk assessment capabilities enabled by AI
Yeah.
to get to decisions quicker. So in one way, AI, machine learning, and technology is helping us diversify our value proposition.
Correct.
On the other way, we understand that technology is also bringing in emerging risks.
It is.
We're making sure that we do what? Protect our customers. But not just beyond protection. This whole process means there's a lot of data that is being generated.
Yeah.
True.
Information. We also have to protect data of our customers because remember, the biggest value proposition in all this is trust.
Yes.
And the moment your customers lose trust in the way you handle the information, confidential. Remember, data generated from transactions or the way of life does not just represent data in a database. It's
No.
actually information of people's life.
People's lives, yeah.
You mentioned that coin there about what banking lifestyle. What? It's now your value.
No, true. I mean, I was saying that then the value of the banks now becomes, just assisting you with your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're speaking there of the trends and being able to understand that the customer's spending is the customer's life.
Yeah.
We can quickly read your life by looking at your spending.
Yeah.
And now that bumps up the value proposition of security in banking systems. And because the banking systems, for me, as a consumer, is a place where I keep my money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I want to make sure that where I keep my money, it's secure.
It's
Exactly.
safe.
Yeah.
Not under the mattress, right?
No. I'll tell you something. Sleep mattresses are not that safe with your money.
So
Just sleep
remember,
on them.
if we go back to the 50s,
Yeah.
if you read the history of banking,
Sure.
you went to put your money in the bank because it's safe there. You trusted.
Yes.
So today's trust is how the bank partners with you to make themselves relevant to you, and your shift of trust
Yeah.
has moved to experience.
It is. It is.
I want to use FNB app because I know I can move money
Quickly move money.
That is experience.
Yeah.
I want to work with FNB because I know if I go there, I can get insurance in their marketplace. I can buy their car on their platform. I can easily get to buy a house. That is experience.
Yeah.
It is.
And you realize that down the line, you almost have everything on your palm.
Sure.
And that's why these strategic partnerships are important
Yeah.
to make sure that you've got context
Sure.
for the customer.
So I love that. I love that because there's this thing around platform businesses, and you're not saying it loudly, but in your words,
Yeah.
platform,
Yeah.
an AI platform. What are your thoughts around banks rather, you starting to use this business model that is banking as a platform, because an eBucks is there serving as banking as a platform, and all the other banks in different ways, and ultimately all these financial services in the financial services space, all these companies are now thinking about insurance as a platform, banking as a platform. What's your thoughts, as just parting thoughts, in that space?
So we've been going through an era that is being transitioned by technology,
Yeah.
and for consumers, it's how they are now consuming services and products from different organizations, and it's happening through platforms.
Sure.
Uber is a platform,
Yeah.
so everything is happening on a device today. Amazon, everything you want to do, you can now do it on an app.
Correct.
And the same thing happens for banking. I'm sure a majority of banks have apps online.
Definitely.
So that is a platform where you can get your needs met from a banking perspective. But what you've seen in FNB's app, it's not about having the platform. It's about what you put on the platform.
What you put on the platform, right?
I'd say
Get what I'm saying?
this also
Yeah.
gives us a great review of how we've been going with the episode today. So we started off with design thinking,
Yeah.
and that led us to thinking in the user experience.
Exactly.
Just before you can get your technical functionality right, you start with the user experience.
Sure.
Yes.
And we spoke of the importance of then analyzing risk and having analytics of your consumers and having that data. And then we now even step on understanding platform business.
Exactly.
Because what the message then becomes in clarity also is that even in any business,
Sure.
you should always think in platform business, think in platform. That way you'll be able to think in the digital space, because some businesses are still brick and mortar.
They are.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
still very much brick
Yeah.
and mortar. But what's happening is that because digital business is thriving much quicker, everybody wants to convert
Yeah.
to
So
digital.
100%.
I like
what
the way you
does-
summarized it.
Yeah. What does then become the role of the bank as a platform in this platform business space for a business owner who's still brick and mortar but would like to compete with the likes of Take-A-Lot?
So, one is, I like the way you summarize it. We have platforms. You design the right things on platform. You use data to build context. You use data to build experience. You're still using data and other technologies to protect the customer's interests, understand them much better,
Yeah.
personalize experiences. When you look at all that, they constitute integrated financial services. So for that person who is running a brick and mortar business, you need to enable them in their business. So if you look at FNB, we've got a program called Fundaba.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the businesses,
Yeah,
right?
for businesses.
Yeah.
So you'll see that value proposition provides context to businesses. Running a business is not an easy thing. It's not even as easy as just funding. It's
No, no.
about business models and value propositions
Yeah.
and things like that. So for that business, listen, some products are brick and mortar products, but they can be enabled by a digitized, contextual, integrated financial value proposition where, for example, you've got financial advice, your business value proposition, your business model.
Yeah.
You need to set up people to succeed.
Yes.
And the building blocks of success are just beyond having credit,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they're about how do you manage your money, how do you manage your expenses, how do
Yes.
you build your business model for your pricing. How do you
100%.
make sure that you monitor risks of falling over because of commitment to things that might not be relevant? How do you manage your budgets? All that is important to enabling a business, and that's why we're talking about context.
Correct.
So even that small business, remember, there's very, very many small businesses that fail because not because they could not access
No,
funding,
no, no.
but because because they started over, made a few wrong decisions. But think about this: instead of us just providing credit, we are partnering with them.
Yes.
The
Yes.
same way you partner with a customer.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
sure- yeah.
And for me, I think that is the ultimate, again, tying it back to design thinking, I think that's the ultimate, goal. To say you are running a business, you are thinking about what are the strategic capabilities that you can build and set up for your business
Yeah.
that can actually drive value. There's this notion around shared value that can create some sort of shared value for yourself, communities that you do business in, and your clients. Because I always say this especially when I engage with small business, to say you are missing the point. You are asking yourself, why are you not selling? But the other question is, how are you creating value for the people that are buying from you? How do you enable them rather, to pay you? Where are they finding the opportunities? So an F&B program like a Fundaba and all the other elements that they have in that package, as to say, sure, we want your money, best believe that, right? But how do we teach you to utilize whatever that you have made to manage it well so that you can pay us?
Yes.
Because the important is paying
Yeah.
us.
That becomes the function of the business, of course, to make sure that you can get the money to pay us back.
Your success is our success.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
success is our success, if we were to polish it nicely.
True. True.
And for me, I think that is the parting shot, to say it's all about design, it's all about security, because the ultimate thread, as you said, it's about trust. Part of my research is to include that logic, to say we can be technical in whatever way, but relationship ultimately is built on trust.
Exactly.
You are moving money from part A to part B. Before I even give it to you, I need to trust you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
How do I trust you? It's about design, it's about experience, it's about capabilities that are meaningful for both of us.
Yeah.
And now, because we're playing in the digital space, it's about using technology to create AI, to create, all these very cool aspects that look at it in different ways. And the heading, I guess in the next episode, we'll speak about cybersecurity and say
Yeah.
cybersecurity, aka trust.
Exactly.
Cyber trust.
Yeah.
No,
I-
I think
I
Mark,
actually-
thank
Yeah.
you so much, for coming through. This is a space for leaders. It's a space for inspiring. It's a space for, creating mindsets with a human touch.
Sure.
It's a space of creating all these lessons for us to just engage and really transform how we look at data and digital. It's not just someone literally writing code, but there's so much depth in it. There's so much humanness, if I would create a word in it. And it's about also just making sure that we translate the conversation to different stakeholders. You are
Yeah.
business head, you are, coming from a management consulting space, and you're selling these solutions. You are the guys creating the solutions. Listen up, let us engage, let us transform the space, and let us create a global footprint that really sets, this landscape apart, and make sure that whatever that we do, we are creating value and we are empowering societies in a meaningful way. And I think for me also, because this is
And that's exactly what Insight Digital is all about.
the insight.
It's the insights, and it's of course helping you create that value. Mark, I'd love to have your parting shot in this conversation. In parting shot, I'd like to wrap up what we have just spoken about and give us your take home.
The past couple of years, I've seen every business, every organization get disrupted, modernize itself using technology. And when you combine that with a lot of social challenges we're facing across the world, I think the nature of humanity has been tested. And that means that we have to also focus on being better humans.
Sure.
So that we can have a humane influence on technology and the type of world we're creating for the future. So those are my last parting words.
Excellent. I didn't expect that. Took me to another level. But I'll say this, from the conversation we've had today, I've also would like to part with the knowledge of being able to think customer first, and also think of what value proposition is my business, over and above what product is my business selling. So with the value proposition of your business, you also think, what is it that I'm selling to the customer besides this pair of sneakers, besides this hat, besides this bed, but that ease of use as a way to think of your business, and convenience that you are selling. How are you making their life simpler? Over and above, how are you giving them the end product? And thank you for the lessons today. I told you, it's a big one. I said, listen to this.
Chief Data Analytics Officer. Big. Guys, important announcement. Please subscribe. There, everywhere. Please subscribe. We'll be writing articles, post with these interviews. So please read these articles around different topics, whether it's design thinking, whether it's cybersecurity, etc. Please read. The important thing here is, if you subscribe, you are helping us to build these communities. And obviously this is a podcast. So podcasts need support, financial support, and any other. So please help us, with memberships. Please support, sponsor a segment, sponsor something. Help us, build this community further. Because if you help us build it, more and more people will understand how this world looks like.
True.
More and more people understand the role and the importance of this. And I think for the younger selves, they will see that, if I want to be a Mark, be organized.
Yeah.
Be like a PE. Be clean. Understand your vision, Get it right.
Get it right.
Get it right. And really, that for us, it's to also open doors,
True.
And just create the space for everyone to learn, transform, and develop. That's
Much
it.
appreciated.
Thank
and
you.
most importantly, join us again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Awesome,
much.
man.
Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you,
Mike.
Mark.
That was a nice experience.
Thank you, man.